Hey everybody, Daryl and Holly with Exquisite Exotics here. Today's video is a long overdue one, and we just realized the other day we hadn't even done this yet, and we're like, oh my gosh. Actually, let's be honest, it was last night. Last night we were like, what are we going to do for a video?
That's actually true.
What are we going to do for a video? We have no clue this week.
It's because the thing we were going to do actually got postponed a little bit. So much hair. Just because of shipping.
Yeah.
You know, as of right now, like most of you, anything that's shipping, things get behind.
So anyway, last night we're like, what are we going to do? Rushing around for an idea. And then we realized this is a long overdue video. So behind us you see Freedom Breeder racks. And a while ago we talked about those. And we actually have to redo that video because that video turned out not so great, and I think I took it down actually, and it needs completely redone. So we need to do that. Look at his face. Anyway,
the review or the build?
The review that we did.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I thought that the build was still up.
Build's still there, but there was a review video. It was crappy. Anyway, that needs redone at some point anyway. Point is, this is not on these racks because we've been using these racks for far less times than we've been using other racks. We started with tanks a long time ago. And then when we moved to racks, the first racks we bought were C Serpents racks 4 years ago, which is crazy to think. It was 4 years ago we bought our first C Serpents
Literally
rack.
Like January.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
January 4 years ago. So, and we still use them today a lot. And actually, we're going to probably place in a pretty big order for some more again later this year. Not probably, we are. We're going to be placing a big order for some more again later this year. So we're like, you know, we haven't talked about these racks, but they're like the cornerstone of our geckos. We use them for ball pythons still. We use them for GTPs. Like, we really need to talk about these racks. So, yeah. We're going to take you on a little tour. We're going to take you over to a couple different spots. One here in the ball python room, which I'm just going to grab the camera here in a second. We're going to take a look at. And then we're also going to go and take a quick cut and go over to our gecko room and take a look at some stuff over there. So real quick, let me show you here in the ball python room. What's really nice about these C Serpents racks is, I'm going to switch around the camera, so hopefully you guys are seeing, oh, you guys are seeing a wall. All right, now you're not seeing a wall. So here, no, there's no editing. Holly, can you come behind me and move that light so that we have a little more light over here? I know this is kind of our like clutter corner, so ignore the clutter a little bit.
It's a different area. It's I guess you can call it a quarantine area.
Yeah. So well, I wouldn't call it necessarily our quarantine area. What I'll call those is our quarantine racks sitting there. Preferably, you move them out of your snake room when you have to quarantine stuff.
No, but yes, you are correct.
Yeah, sorry. But we just have them sitting here. That thermostat's not running that rack right now. It's actually running this rack over here. But so what we have here are just two racks that we can use for when we go to shows, and we can throw animals in that we have quarantined during that time. And what's great about these racks is we started with ball pythons in these racks. So we're going to walk over, like I said, to the gecko room. We're going to take a look at some of the different sizes that Chris makes and some of the stuff he can do, because we have some different configurations as well. We'll take a deeper dive over in that room what the racks look like. But this is just one size, and this works for almost up to like maybe about a 500, 600 gram ball python. I think is pretty good in there, actually, before you have to move them up to something bigger.
I was going to say, probably through weaned size rats, I think they fit in. Yeah. That might be good.
Yeah, and these tubs, we'll show you these same tubs in the other room too. But there's even smaller ones you can use for hatchlings. So if you buy a lot of hatchlings at shows, you can get a small rack for hatchlings. If you buy a lot of more medium-sized snakes, maybe get one of each for quarantine. But these work great for quarantining for your ball pythons, or still using for your ball pythons, because you don't need to have freedom breeders. These C Serpents work fantastic. So let's go ahead and cut here, and we're going to go over to the gecko room. All right, we're over in the gecko room, and my back is against another rack, so I'm sorry I cannot... Wait, you know what? Camera zoomed, Daryl, dummy. Anyway, racks and racks and racks and racks and racks and racks and C Serpents racks. All these are C Serpents racks. So, and we're going to be getting more. So a couple things I want to point out over here on the end. So this is a Hatchling Rack. You can see that it's 3 wide and 6 tall, so 18 tubs. But he also makes a 9 tub if you're looking for something for quarantine. And Holly, can you point out the gap right there?
Right here.
Right here. So what actually is happening there is these racks are stackable. So this is actually a stack of 3 separate racks. It's 2 18s and then a stack of 9 on top, which is not the most efficient use of our space, which we're going to ratify with our next order. But you can, and he makes, I think, like a 45 now as well, which he didn't make when we bought these. So The way these work, I'll show you the tops of one. Yeah, okay. Holly, can you move those eggs out of the way? Yeah, let's move those eggs out of the way a second. Yeah. All right, so there's little pegs here at the top, and there's one. You can see there's another hole in the back. I can put it right there.
These we have extra of those. We're just not utilizing that as a stackable one at the moment, so that's why you see that.
Yep. So what you do is you actually put a peg in every in opposing corner. So there's also a peg back there in that corner. You can see it right. Hold on, I'm coming into the camera view with my finger. Right there.
Okay.
Anyway, so you put opposing pegs in, and then you can stack the rack. So that's a benefit number one. Benefit number two, you have different sizes. So we were talking about the smaller size. This is ones we use for hatchlings. We've used this size for hatchlings a lot, and then we actually custom made some tubs. So you can see for the geckos, we cut out the front and do screens for the geckos. But when we need to use them for snakes, we have glued a deli cup to the bottom, and then we can put another deli cup inside, just like you would a Freedom Breeder tub with a built-in cup holder, right? So, and then we actually like a little extra ventilation, so we drill a couple holes in front. But that same rack now works for geckos and snakes, right? So you can have a multi-purpose rack. And your rack has a couple heat options. You can get them with no heat, which we don't use heat in our gecko room because we heat our geckos, our gecko room itself. So we don't use the heat tape. But I recommend buying them with heat tape because they're much more multifunctional then, right? So you can get them without heat tape. All of ours have heat tape because if we want to use them for ball pythons, then we can. The heat tape, you have two options for. You can have heat tape on the bottom. There we go. You can see there's that metal strip there on the bottom and the back. So you can have heat tape there on the bottom. Or you can have heat tape in the back. So this is what we have set up for GTPs. And they're better off with heat tape in the back. So this has back heat tape instead of bottom heat tape. So you have two options for heat tape. If you really are nice to Chris, he might make you a custom one, like this one here, for a tub size that you want. So if he has something, you have a tub that you want to use, but you don't see a rack, talk to Chris. He's super nice. In this case, let's see if he comes out. There we go. We have a GTP in this one, right? So, and he's about to go up to a bigger enclosure too. He's getting about outgrown for this. But so that's a nice big tub though that we use for GTPs. Another back heat one, and that was custom made. Another option Chris has, casters. So you can throw your rack on rollers, which is another great option if you want to move racks around a lot in your space. And probably an option we're going to be getting more often. And then the other size that you saw over there, we also use for crested geckos. That's this bigger size here. Right, which is a nice big tub. We use for crested geckos as well, and again, those are the ones that are good for like 500 to 600 gram ball pythons. So you can start your hatchlings over on these racks, move them into these racks, and then you do need to go to something bigger. Chris has bigger ones, but we focus on the ones that kind of are multi-purpose for us for smaller ball pythons, which would be what we produce, right? So we need more space when we're producing babies, and then our geckos. And they're multi-purpose for both those things. All we have to do is buy extra tubs and set them up separately, whether they're set up for a gecko or whether they're set up for a snake, because we do a slightly different tub setup, screen for the geckos. You'll see a couple with holes that we're slowly converting everybody to screens because we started with holes for geckos, but screens for the geckos, and then there's cup holder ones for ball pythons. So the multi-purpose racks, you can use the heat, you cannot use the heat. We have used these things for 4 years and love them and are about to place an order for more of them. You can use them for GTPs, get some back heat. They're really, really versatile and they've held up extremely well. I don't even know which one of these racks is the first one we got because we did just start. You know what? I do. It's that little 9 one. Was the first one we ever got.
Is that the only 9 one we have?
It is the only 9 one we got. So and you can't tell a difference between it or any of the other ones. And these tubs come from a place called the Container Store. They're all over the country. And even if you don't have one near you, they ship tubs. The tubs are extremely cheap, so the fact that we have to buy, they come with tubs, but we basically buy a whole second set. We can use one set that comes with it to set up for geckos, buy a whole nother set, and then set it up for snakes, and it's versatile, and it really doesn't cost you that much more to buy the tubs. The tubs are pretty cheap. I don't remember off the top of my head what the price was, but for these hatchling ones...
they're not here. They're in the
other room. But we buy them by, the case.
They're just women's shoe boxes and then men's shoe boxes.
Yeah, the smaller ones are the women's shoe boxes from Container Store, and the bigger ones are called
I think
women's.
they're large men's shoe boxes, or large, whatever they are. But you just look for shoe boxes and you'll
see the two sizes.
Yeah.
And you buy them by the case, and they're relatively cheap, to be honest with you. And well worth it to be able to have such a versatile rack that you can use for multiple things. And you know, I'm sure there are other animal species, right, you can use them for. We've got them set up for GTPs. We've got them set up for crested geckos. We got them set up for ball pythons. And I'm sure there are tons more ways you could use these racks. And the ability to have both back heat, bottom heat, again, I highly recommend. He will make them with no heat, but get the heat, because you can change species that way. You know, it's up to you whether you use back or bottom. Pros and cons, I'm not going to go into all those, but that's really up to you. I think that bottom works best for most animals. Some things like GTPs, back works better, which is how we have those GTP racks in the corner set up. But what's nice, that GTP rack sitting there in the corner, if we need more space for baby crested geckos, we just turn off the heat and bam, that is a crested gecko rack. Whether it has heat tape or not, it doesn't matter. So tons and tons of value in these racks. And while we're in this room, before we close out, Holly, do you have anything else you want to add about these racks?
Nope.
No. I will show you one other thing, and it's going to be, let's see if I can tilt this to show you. I probably can. Yeah, and we'll go up here. What's really nice is one rack, no matter how tall it is typically, just has one plug. So if you have something like a Herpstat 2, right? You can run two racks off of that same Herpstat 2. There's just one cord typically that he puts on them. So that's also nice, because a lot of places you're dealing with multiple cords and you're getting power strips. Not something you have to do here. You can plug them directly into the back of the Herpstats and control a whole bunch of arrays all at once. So really nice. Chris also makes incubators, which I've heard great things about. I've never used them. The hotbox incubators. I've heard great things about them. People rave about how good they are. I've never bought them personally, so I can't give you a personal review on them. But given that they're made by Chris, I think the quality is going to be good. And I love his design. So the way they're designed is very similar to how we built our incubator, with a false wall, and then the air runs behind the false wall. I think that's the best opinion. This is totally opinion, and people are going to differ on it. But personally, I think that's the best way to circulate air, not have the hot coming right into your egg racks, but move the heat around your incubator efficiently and kind of block some of that radiant heat you get if you just have unprotected heat tape in your incubator. So you don't have as much of a heat swing. As much of a heat swing from where the heating element is, your heat tape being your heating element, to the opposite side of your incubator, whether you put heat tape on the sides, the back, whatever it is. I think it's a better method. It's like using a convection oven versus using a regular oven. That air circulation makes it bake more evenly. That's the whole reason they use convection. So anyway, let's go back and close out. All right, so in closing, one last thing I do want to add. We go to the US ARC auctions in Tinley when we can go to Tinley, not due to COVID. And Chris is always a huge supporter at those auctions for US ARC. So another great thing about buying from Chris is when you buy those racks, I don't know how much of a percentage it is, but I guarantee you a percentage of that money is going to end up in US ARC's hands, because he donates very generously at those auctions. Freedom Breeder does it well. I'm not calling anybody out and saying they're not. Don't think I'm saying other rack people don't.
We're just talking about C Serpents in this
right.
one, so.
Yeah, so I'm not saying anybody else doesn't. I'm just saying he does. So if you're looking to also help support US ARC, he does support US ARC greatly. He actually is a big supporter of the NARBC show in general. And he's one of their premier sponsors as well for US ARC. I don't remember what level he's at, but it's a pretty high level. And you're supporting a person who also supports this community and our ability to keep these animals. So another good reason. Another good reason to support C Serpents and Chris. So I think I've raved enough now about these racks. I love them. We love them. We're buying more. We've been using them for 4 years, so we have a good handle on them, I think, and the quality. And they've held up over 4 years. You can't tell that they're 4 years old at all, other than maybe the dust that we need to clean off occasionally.
Yeah, but geckos are sensitive, so you always want to be gentle and not banging stuff around.
All right. Anyway, Holly, anything else?
No, you said everything. I mean, I would probably totally agree that when you support C Serpents, you're supporting, I'm going to call it a small business, because you're not supporting like a big box. So you're supporting a small business, you're supporting a family. When you've ordered, They hand do everything. It's, it's a small group of people, right? Like,
Yeah, he's a small group. I don't know how many employees he has, but it's
high quality. Yeah. And
good customer service.
And oh my god, and just in general, nice person. He remembers you. So like every time we go to a show and we say hi.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'm more shy. He and Daryl always chat for a little bit. So he's just a nice guy.
He's a good guy.
Good to support good people.
Yes, absolutely.
So
anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. I think that's it for this video. If you have any questions about C Serpents racks, of course you can ask us, but better yet, reach out to Chris, ask him. Super helpful, nice guy, great customer support. He's the guy to talk to. But I am happy to answer questions if you want to have answers from somebody who's actually used the rack and you have a question about usability or anything like that, feel free to reach out to us. I think that's it. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. We really, really, really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. It means a world to us. We're just a family of 2 here, breeding reptiles and making YouTube videos. Your support means a ton. We make 0 off of YouTube right now. Probably never will, but that's okay because we like sharing information with the community. We like sharing with you guys what we're doing, and we love seeing the comments down below and answering them. Occasionally we get a comment that really means a lot to us. We get one where people are like, hey, you guys are doing amazing or whatever. That actually means the world to us.
When you say that we've been helpful,
that's another one.
The one that kind of...
Yeah. Our teaching...
Not keeps us going, but it helps,
Yeah. Our teaching videos where people were like, hey, this helped me do this thing that you were trying to teach. That means a lot to us. So, anyway, I'm rambling. Along with all you people who support our YouTube channel, those of you who've been supporting us via purchasing animals these last, 3 weeks, have
been ridiculous. With snow and cold and snow and cold.
Yeah, they've been the weather was. But that's not what I meant. Ridiculous.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. I was trying to apologize that we haven't shipped anything yet.
I was going to say the number of people who have supported us from purchasing animals in the past 3 weeks, which has been a ridiculous number of animals that have sold in the past couple of weeks, and we're just waiting for the weather. That's all I mentioned. To ship them out. Thank you for your support as well, because we can't keep doing this if we can't sell the animals. So it means all the world to us for all of our supporters, however you support us. All right, now I've definitely rambled too much. Thank you all, and we will see you next weekend, hopefully with the video that was supposed to be this weekend. All right, bye everybody.
Take care.